What we are addressing is an unmet need. And the unmet need is a deeper understanding of the diseases and the injuries that organ transplants develop. Organ transplantation began in the middle 1950s in Harvard with the first successful kidney transplant, but we haven't achieved its full potential because still many patients don't develop complications. A lot of those complications we just don't understand. So that's what MMDx is about. It's combining another miracle of the 20th century, the discovery of DNA in the 1950s, the Watson and Crick miracle. Measuring the messenger RNA can tell you what's going on in the tissue. The difference between a kidney that's sick and a kidney that's well, between a heart that's sick and a heart that's well, is measured in gene expression. The Molecular Microscope Diagnostic System, or MMDx, is a system for assessing organ transplant biopsies using gene expression and machine learning, and generating a report that the clinician can use for managing the patient.
So a microarray is a chip covered in 500,000 different cells in a grid pattern, and those are all mapped out so we know exactly what is on that grid. Each cell in the grid contains millions of DNA fragments stacked up. So what we do when we get the biopsy is we take the biopsy tissue, remove it from the RNA later, take a good look at it, and then put it into a tube with a stainless steel bead and some reagents, and then put it into a machine called a tissuealyzer, which basically shakes the tube with the bead, disrupting the tissue and allowing us to access the RNA. We then take that sample, elute the RNA, clean it up, do some quality control tests on it, and then fragment it. So we break the RNA apart into all these little pieces, and then we go through a step called labeling, where we attach a fluorescent label to all of those different fragments. We then pipette the sample onto the chip, and it goes into an oven overnight so that any fragments that are present in that sample that could adhere to one of those DNA fragments on the chip, they have a chance to stick. And then we take the chip off, wash it, stain it, and scan it with a laser. The laser will pick up any regions on that chip where something did adhere. There is a fragment present. And so that will show up as a bright area, and then other areas will show up as dark areas. And you can visualize that by actually looking at the picture, where you can see all those bright regions and dark regions, but it also gets output as just data. So quantifiable data telling you how much RNA was found and where.
So over decades of collaborative research, we've accumulated thousands of biopsies for heart, kidney, lung, and liver. Of course, we can't eliminate all technical variability with the process, but we can use different techniques like normalization. So we use something called robust multi-array averaging, which translates all the information within the whole biopsy set, so it's all on the same scale. And it provides the clinician with a report that has dozens of molecular scores on it, which guides them in their decision-making for the patient.
The report itself is an ensemble. So it's many different types of scores. Some of those scores in themselves are a consensus opinion, not a single opinion. So they come up on the report, but what they actually are is the median of 12 different opinions predicting if you have ABMR or not. We have binary classifiers that appear predicting ABMR or no, TCMR or no rejection or rejection, something that's 1 or 0 option. We also have gene set scores, which are a little bit different from a classifier in just the way that they're developed, but they also assess things like injury, rejection, specific features. And then we have archetypes, which are relating your biopsy to idealized phenotypes. So the ideal example of ABMR, the ideal example of TCMR, the ideal example of no rejection, and how much is your biopsy like any of those things.
One of the most important things with our project is that we build different machine learning algorithms and classifiers, as well as these multi-gene scores. And this is a decades-long process. It's ongoing. It's continually being developed. But through this process, we've taken vigorous steps to make sure that we haven't overfit the data. So we validated all these models to make sure that they're going to continue to provide the appropriate answer when we apply them. And one interesting part about particularly the classifiers that we develop is that a single classifier on a report is actually a combination of 12 different machine learning algorithms. And the reason why we do that is because we know that none of those are going to be perfect in every situation. I think everyone understands that nothing is perfect in every situation, but collectively, they can provide us with a closer approximation of the truth.
So this is the star of the show, the gene chip. But in thinking about the MMDx project, you have to remember probably 5 components. The wonderful patients who around the world, thousands of them have given us their biopsies, our hundreds of collaborators around the world, the agencies and the companies that have given us support for the project, our marvelous team of scientists. But we couldn't really do this without the environment of this marvelous university, the University of Alberta, and the Health Sciences Complex, where so many professionals support our science. We've had enormous buy-in by clinicians and pathologists around the world. In many cases, they say, we couldn't have managed this situation without MMDx information. So as this developed, we licensed the technology to Thermo Fisher in the United States, and they've established service laboratories in Portland, Oregon, the Kashi Laboratory, and at the ECAM Institute in Prague in Czech Republic. We had to absolutely standardize the technology in our laboratory and then make each of those laboratories a mirror of what we do in Edmonton. The future is really great for technologies like this. In addition, of course, we're always looking to apply the next generation of technologies to the problem, both in the measurement of gene expression, but also in the machine learning and artificial intelligence for interpreting the disease. And the outcome for that would be a better understanding of how to treat, but also new treatments. So a test doesn't change someone's life. A test leading to an intervention, that changes someone's life. That's our goal, to develop new interventions, better treatments.